It's been a while, but we're back with some Choosing Beggars. Because so many of you still want EP, we've even got some stories about choosing beggars that are also entitled parents. You're welcome. For our first story, Hippity Hoppity, well, you know the rest. This man encounters an entitled mother on his doorstep and she demands access to his private property. What's he gonna do? A woman is excited to celebrate her birthday and chooses to include her workmates with a self-catered lunch. But her choosing beggar coworkers are not wishing her a happy birthday. For our fan-submitted story, a family generously offers a relative a place to stay despite her low finances. When the mother drops by to check in, she is surprised by what she sees. Just wait till you see what she's done to their property. You'll find out on this episode of VoiceyHere's Choosing Beggars. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode. And let's get straight into it. This story was called Choosing Beggar Mum Demands Access to My Swimming Pool. I had this rather amazing run-in with a choosing beggar last week, and boy was it entertaining / infuriating. I'm renting a one-story house with a private swimming pool with my wife. The house is part of a small neighborhood of 6 houses in total, 2 of which are slightly bigger than the others and have a private pool each. Those 2 are a fair bit more expensive for obvious reasons. Last week, someone knocks on the door and I go to open it. Outside is a smiling woman with 2 kids. "Hello, I'm Jerkface from next door. We thought we would use the pool." I'm confused and a bit stunned. "Oh, you did you?" I now also notice that they're all carrying towels and have swimming suits on. I don't really like lending it out, I'm afraid, so I think I'll have to say no. "Oh, but the rent gives me access to the pool when I want," said in a very smug way, as if she's calling me an idiot. "You're not paying the rent for my house, and I know the owner doesn't include use of the pool in the contract. I know this because he's a close friend of my wife, and I happen to be the one who wrote the contract, as well as having translated the guy's ad for Facebook and such." "Well, it's in the lease, so you don't really have any choice, do you?" At this point, I just ask my wife to call up the owner, and he confirms that he hasn't said anything about her being allowed to use the pool, and that the contract doesn't mention it. I tell her this, but since she has kids, I tell her that I'll allow her to come over to use the pool perhaps once a month, as long as she gives me 1 week's notice or so. This is not good enough for Jerkface, who demands immediate access to the pool, as well as future use whenever she feels like it. This of course results in me withdrawing my kind offer, and her stomping away screaming about getting me kicked out. Later, the owner shows up, having heard her screaming through the phone, and warns her sternly that she will be kicked out if she makes any more trouble. I don't think she'll be staying here for long. It's a classic choosing beggar manipulation tool to put the other person on the spot, so by showing up at the house, ready with the swimming gear, it's almost too awkward to not let them in. Fortunately, this guy stands his ground and says no. Again, here we see the importance of contracts. It shows what was voluntarily agreed to by both parties. Now, if only we could contract with every choosing beggar to never have to see them again. This story was called Choosing Beggar Annoyed, I'm Not a Waitress. Demands free coffee. I worked at a gas station as a teenager for 2 years. I was pretty shy back then and worked with mostly mid-20s guys who were hilarious and great to work with. I loved that job. But obviously, dealing with the public, you're gonna have some weird and annoying stories, especially since people complain at you for the price of gas. For your information, the 18-year-old girl at the till normally doesn't control the price of petrol. Please stop complaining to her about how expensive it is. It was a small enough station with a decent shop and an automatic coffee machine just by the door that actually made pretty good cappuccinos. Normally, there'd be at least 2 people working behind the counter. We each got a 15-minute break during long shifts. But if it got busy, you could ring a bell to let them know that you needed help. One day I was working with one of the lads. He was hilarious. While I always try to be extra polite to aggravated customers, this guy did not care. He took no crap. He had worked there too long. He was also built like a tank, so his attitude was rarely met with much retaliation. He was taking his break in the back, and this older woman, maybe in her 60s, walked in. "Hello, I would like a coffee." "Oh yes, we have a machine just over there that serves lots of types of coffee. Just press the button for whatever one you like." and then I smile. The old woman, looking at the machine I gestured at, looks back at me and scoffs. Ugh, if I wanted to make my own coffee, I could do that at home. She just stares at me. Oh, well, I'm sorry, but that's the coffee maker we have. It's actually quite nice though, but there aren't really any coffee shops nearby. Silence and still staring. So, are you going to make me a coffee? I was confused. Oh, well, I'm not supposed to leave the register. I have to. This is ridiculous. I am a paying customer, and you won't serve me? This is a disgrace. Bear in mind, there's nowhere to sit. It's a to-go coffee machine. I was just beyond confused at this point. She storms over to the machine and presses one of the buttons for a coffee. Since I'm the one doing your job, there's no way I'm paying for this. I'll take my coffee and go. And I'll be telling people about the terrible service here. Now, I didn't know, but Tank Bro had wandered out from the back and had been listening. He quietly walked between her and the door while the coffee was pouring and folded his muscly arms, looking like a nightclub bouncer. The old woman turns to walk out with the coffee cup. Sorry, where the heck do you think you are? I'm not paying to make my own coffee. You're in a petrol station. We're not a freaking restaurant. Pay for your coffee and get out. I'm not paying. Then hand it over. She reluctantly hands him the coffee, which he takes a swig from straight away and smiles. She storms out. Man, screw this job. That was one of my favorite work days. Why do choosing beggars always have a very messed up view of value? Either they'll exclusively value the material goods and ignore the value of the labor, or in this case, she recognizes the labor cost but completely ignores the value factor of the convenience of a quick and cheap coffee and the actual material cost of the coffee itself. How many of these people do you think are just completely ignorant? And how many do you think are just trying to scam their way into getting free coffees and free this or that? Let me know in the comments what you think. This story was called Choosing Beggar on my birthday. So today is my birthday. I've been working a new job for a year now and have gelled well with my team. Because of this, I thought it would be nice if I bought some snacks for my team. I went to the local shop and shelled out quite a lot for some pastries. Biscuits, pizza bites, and just stuff that everyone can snack on. I get vegan, vegetarian, halal, kosher, and gluten-free options. In my other jobs, I have done this as I like celebrating with other people, but this is by no means a duty on me to do. I do it because I like sharing. So I place some snacks on the main desk at the front of our office, where everyone can help themselves. As our office is huge, I write that I've brought in some goodies and people on my team should help themselves. Enter Choosy Beggar 1. This is from someone in our senior team, so although they are part of our team, they never really talk to anyone in a pay grade lower than them, and a majority of us understand that they are not our team. He waltzes over, picks at everything, and reads the note. He doesn't realize that most of us are looking at him when he does this. He states, "Who is this person?" My colleague points to me and states that it's my birthday, so I've brought some bits in. He takes one look at me and demands why there are no donuts. I explain that the donuts from the local shop didn't look too nice, so I thought it best not to buy them. He states that as it's my birthday and I've decided to buy stuff, I should have bought stuff that he wanted. I try to awkwardly explain that I didn't really have to buy anything at all, and that I mostly bought it for our base team. He gives me a dirty look and says that next time I needn't bother at all, if I'm still working here. So that kinda ticked me off, but I know the senior team are like that, so I try not to let it get to me, as he is hardly ever at work and everyone knows he's a prick. Then Choosing Beggar 2 walks in. This woman is not even part of our team. She just works on the same floor as us. She does the pleasantries and says happy birthday and asks if she can have a pizza bite. I say of course, and that she is welcome to take some things back for her team if she wants. She takes a platter which has about 10 bites. She eats one and then looks at me funny. I ask if she has any allergies. She replies with, "No, they're freaking cold." I was so shocked at her attitude, I could have died there and then. I tell her that she can use the microwave to warm up the bites. She asks why she has to warm stuff up, as it should be warm when she takes them. Then I lose it and tell her that it's my birthday and I don't care if she chokes on the pizza bite. just go get lost. She says that I have a really toxic attitude and that I shouldn't share if I couldn't take it. So yeah, didn't think I would have a choosing beggar experience on my birthday, but here we are. I've hated every time I've had to work in one of those workplace environments. There's so much entitlement because you have these like collective areas where everybody meets. There's always so much conflict, whether it's like the washing up at the sink or food that everyone's brought in, or people feeling entitled that you have to bring in food because it's your birthday. That stuff happens all the time in workplaces. I think it's great if you get along with a few people at your workplace, but this idea that everyone is forced to get along even when they don't want to, and everyone else is entitled to your time and your stuff, I don't know how it makes you feel, but it makes me feel really uncomfortable. This fan-submitted story was called, "I already bought the house for you. You can't throw all our stuff away, ruin the house, and expect me to pay for your new stuff." Hi there, I'm new here and I have a story from my mum. It happened 5 years ago. I really love that I found this channel and this Reddit page. Such a good read. Choosing Beggar is a relative. Close to my dad, but not close to my mum. They just tolerate each other for the most part. Choosing Beggar lives overseas and at the time wanted to move back here, in Singapore. If you want to return to rent a house, get a job for many years overseas, you'd need to renew your papers, and that takes about 6 months. As an act of kindness, my dad offers our old apartment for rent. My family has had it for 10 years and wanted to rent it out for the time being, since we kept it so well. Choosing Beggar kept thanking us. Even my mum offered her help with the bank transactions, since you need someone to back for you who's at least been a citizen for more than 5 years. As a result, Choosing Beggar gets our old home for the 6 months, and my mum pays on behalf of Choosing Beggar until she could settle down. Due to some visa complications and the bills needing to be paid, my mum had to pay for Choosing Beggar for her house. Okay, fine, reasonable. However, Choosing Beggar hasn't been paying up her rent as well. It was taxing my mum financially, and my dad couldn't say no to Choosing Beggar. Choosing Beggar kept buying new things for our old home, even though most of the furniture was well kept and preserved. Choosing Beggar never tells my mum anything. This was until my mum goes to our old home for some letters and sees all our well-preserved stuff on the curb. Basically everything from the living room, tables, sofa and chairs. She was hella ticked off and confronted the Choosing Beggar. Here's what happened. Choosing Beggar, why is our stuff on the curb? Why is there so many new pieces of furniture? Was all that stuff broken? You could have told me and I could have sold or repaired it. My mum tried to be civil. Tried. My mum is very resourceful, so she knows how to fix everything in the old house. Selling it was easy enough for her too. No, I want my style. I wanted to buy stuff that fits me better. Some of those pieces of furniture were expensive. I could have sold it off. Why didn't you tell me? I had no time. I was busy with my job. If you had time to buy the furniture, why haven't you paid for the rent? It's been due for a few months, and I'm tight with our own finances. My mum starts to get impatient. Choosing Beggar rolls her eyes. I've been busy at work. Besides, the old junk was too clunky. I've been just doling up the place. You don't own this house, it's still under my name. You also need to pay the rent for this place, since there hasn't been a payment in months. My mum then inspects around our old home. She found out by buying all the new furniture, Choosing Beggar destroyed the wooden floors, as she had dragged the old furniture across the floor. Choosing Beggar hadn't even cleaned the house much at all. Some of the walls had holes from when she threw out the furniture and bumped into them. There was even so much grease in the cupboards above the stove because of who knows what. My mum was furious. She started arguing with Choosing Beggar after her discoveries. How could you leave the house like this? Choosing Beggar was ticked off at my mum. Excuse me? I'll have you know I fixed this shabby home. I've been working my butt off at work and hadn't cleaned, that's all. You're rich enough to have a house in this location, but it looks like crap. Look at everything now. Isn't it better? The Choosing Beggar was in denial and doesn't even face my mum. The Choosing Beggar then tries to make my mum pay for the new furniture, about $1,000 worth. My mum gets the heck out of there and she didn't talk to CB for a while. My dad wasn't able to cool things down between them for some time. He couldn't do much. After Choosing Beggars' permanent home and visa was settled, she dropped the keys with my mum. My mum spent her retirement money fixing the old home. We loved that place too much to sell it off. It was left in shambles when the Choosing Beggar vacates. I hate Choosing Beggar for making my mum work so much. She's already balanced a full-time job and still has time to manage Choosing Beggar's nonsense by the side. I helped my mum salvage what we could. Choosing Beggar has only paid about half the money my mum spent for her. My mum had to get an extra job to get the money back and to pay the bills. What a horrible human. You really do have to be careful who you show generosity to. I hope that from hearing these stories you don't feel discouraged from showing generosity, but rather you're more careful with who it is that you do show generosity to. Because scarcity is a reality of life. This lady who took no personal responsibility has taken up the space that somebody else could have had. Somebody who might have appreciated it and instead of being destructive, might have been productive with it. Or at the very least, appreciated the generous thing that they did. This fan-submitted story was called "My Kid Needs Your Things." So I just got back from seeing my dad who lives in Pennsylvania. I live in Washington, so it's hard to really see each other. I had gotten a few days off and had saved enough money to fly myself down. I had a blast and everything went smoothly until I fly back home. So I was flying late into the night, so when I land it would be early morning, meaning by the time I got home, with a 2 hours drive, it would be midday and I wouldn't be so jet lagged as I would sleep on the ride back. I fly a lot, so I'm prepared for long flights. I have headphones, a portable charger, games, etc. I got to the airport super early because of TSA and all of that jazz. I find my gate 30 minutes before we leave. Okay, I go to a small shop and get something to eat, and wait. Once I got on the plane, I was ready to sleep. I had everything I needed in my bag that I stored under my seat. Once we go into the air, they turned off the lights and all was quiet. I start pulling my things out when I feel a tap on my shoulder. I look over and across from the little walkway, I see the entitled mum. "Yes?"
"I'm sorry to bother, but you wouldn't happen to have any gum? My little one's ears won't pop."
I understand it's painful when your ears don't pop, so I look at my bag and hand her a piece. The entitled mum thanks me and I keep getting things out.
"Are you going to use that neck pillow?"
"Yes, I plan to sleep." I pull out an extra sweatshirt and make it into a small pillow and handed it over to the entitled mum. "Here, this should work for your little girl." The entitled mum just looks at my sweatshirt with a look of disgust.
"I would rather her use the neck pillow. It would be better for her."
"Sorry, I plan to use it." I pop in my headphones, put on my eye mask, and start to slip to sleep when I feel a tap on my shoulder again. It's the entitled mum. "Yes?" I was slightly annoyed.
"Can my kid use your phone?"
She points to my phone sitting in the tray. "No, I'm using it to listen to music right now. Also, I don't let strangers touch my things." Entitled mum looks annoyed and turns back. I put my headphones back in and start playing games for a bit, until I become tired again. I put the mask back on and start to fall asleep once again, when I feel a tugging on my leg. I remove the mask to see the entitled mum trying to grab my bag. I had looped it around my leg, force of habit, so if anyone moves it, I would feel it. I look at the entitled mum with a confused look.
"My little one is hungry. I saw you had snacks."
"Yes, they are mine." I moved the bag closer to me. "I bought them for me."
"Well, I saw gummy snacks. Those are for kids at least. Let me have those."
"No, they should bring snacks down soon, so it shouldn't matter if I have snacks." Sure enough, here came the cart. The entitled mum demanded kid-friendly food and began to throw a fit when she was told it would cost her money. This airline had free snacks and food and stuff you could pay for. Not sure if others do this. Entitled mum finally gave in and paid for the snacks and left me alone. We were well into the flight when I needed to use the bathroom. I get up, stretch, and go to the bathroom. When I'm about halfway down, I get a funny feeling and rush back to my seat. The entitled mum had given her entitled kid my neck pillow, my snacks, and my phone. "Give that back, it's mine." I'm not being quiet as I've dealt with her crap for too long.
But my kid needs this stuff. She doesn't do long flights.
Then you should have come prepared. That's not my fault. I reach over and take my phone back. That is my lifeline when I land, and I won't have some kid messing with it. The entitled kid screams, waking everyone up in the cabin. At this point, a flight attendant runs up trying to calm the situation. What's going on?
She took my phone from my daughter and won't give it back.
The flight attendant looks at me. I tell her that in fact, it's my phone and I can prove it. The entitled mum flips and yells,
"No you can't, that's my phone."
She tried to take it from my hands, but I was quick enough so she didn't get it. I pull up my social media accounts and show her that in fact, it is my phone. The flight attendant looked at the entitled mum and asked if there's anything else. I tell her that she also has my bag filled with all my stuff. The flight attendant gets my bag back and I look through it really quick to make sure that nothing of importance was missing. I sit back down and don't sleep the rest of the flight. The entitled mother glares at me the whole rest of the way. When we land, she gets off as fast as she could, and I never see her again. Thank goodness. I never did get my neck pillow back, by the way. If you'd like your story to be narrated by me, don't forget to visit the subreddit r/VoiceyHere, link below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Alright, I'll see you in the next one.